I'm Tracey. I am a broker and realtor of 20 plus years in Alberta and moved my crazy family with 6 of my kids to Huatulco, Mexico. We just weren't really happy with where we were living at the current time. December 18th, 2021, we decided to go on a little extended holiday to Mexico and check things out. And December 31st was when we got in the car. So we had a 4,500 square foot acreage that we had to pack up with 3 250-pound English Mastiffs, a couple English Bulldogs, a talking parrot, goats, chickens, and in 13 days we packed up our entire lives, stuck a sign in the lawn, and got in the car and drove to Mexico. Spontaneous, I guess you could say, yes. Lifelong dream. I've always loved real estate. I kind of watched a lot of shows on TV, these real estate reality shows where they're selling properties, walking on the beach with their clients. I just thought I could do that. I did not think I would be doing this with children in tow. For the kids, they've learned to slow down and live a much more purposeful lifestyle. There's less wants and needs. Now they very willingly will go to the beach with friends on a day off from school. They've learned a new language in the process, a new way of life. In Mexico, something that we've really been taught is you shouldn't live to work. Work to live is the mentality here. And that is a gift that my kids will always have forevermore. And I'm really happy that I was able to share that with them. So lifelong dream, yes. Spontaneous, yes. So the answer is both. They are so used to our crazy ideas that I don't think it really fazed them. And when we came down, I mean, it was going to be an extended vacation initially, right? Just to kind of check things out, give them a different experience, come for long enough that they can experience a different way of life versus just come for like a holiday. They were on board with that, and it was a conversation that we had. We wouldn't have considered it if they wouldn't have come. So it was definitely a family decision. One question that we do get asked all the time is, why Huatulco? Doing a Google search, looking on Facebook group pages, kind of explaining our situation, looking for a place to kind of check out safe places in Mexico. I realize how idiotic that sounds now when I say that, because honestly, I feel so safe here. Like, this place is absolutely paradise. But yeah, I mean, initially we were looking for places where we felt that the kids could flourish and do things. This place seemed like it ticked off a lot of boxes. We wanted to be by the water. There were some other places we were looking at which didn't have the beaches as close as they are here. Here has many, many beaches. So we just kind of took a chance and got in the car and drove and really hoped that we were going to like it here. That's, I guess, why Huatulco. I feel like a lot of people are drawn to this place and they don't necessarily know why. There is like some sort of magnetic energy or something about this place, because a lot of people can't put their finger on it, but definitely don't regret my decision. I think that might answer another one of the question that I get a lot, whether or not I, regret leaving Canada. And I don't regret really anything at all about leaving, so we love it here. I think for us, as well as the kids, the biggest challenge and the hardest thing about leaving was our animals that we had to unfortunately rehome. So finding homes for all of them took up a lot of those 13 days that we were supposed to be packing up a house. On top of it too, we had literally just finished the renovation on this 80s farmhouse that was a labor of love. But what's funny is this whole process of moving, we needed to obviously go through all of our clothes, figure out what we wanted to pack, purge everything, get the house ready for sale, and this all had to happen over the course of 13 days. When you've got a family with that many children under one roof, it was definitely a lot to handle, but it also forced me to look at throwing things out. Like, it forced me to look at what I was purchasing, that I needed to really get rid of things. We all have that pile of things by the front door that you need to return to Costco or wherever, that you just bought because it was on sale and you don't know if they're going to have it next time. So then you buy it and decide that you don't need it, and you put it by the front door, and then you lose the receipt. I looked at this pile of crap that I didn't need, and it was worth easily a couple thousand Canadian dollars sitting right there. And what was I going to do with it at that point? I had to just get rid of it. The same with my closet. We got a metal detector going on in the background. So I had a friend, my friend Carissa. I was going through my closet, and then eventually I just put aside a few tank tops, a pair of shorts. I closed my bag and I just said, here you go, take the rest, donate the rest. I don't need any of it. But when I was looking through those things, it was like dresses that still had price tags on them. I mean, come on, what was I doing? And then it made me realize that I was doing life all wrong, that this is the perfect thing for my kids to learn themselves and to change the way that they're living before they end up like I was. You know, they've learned this lesson much earlier in life. Freaking metal detector. It's Danielle. Oh. It's an architect I know in the background. I mean, the biggest challenge is definitely was rehoming the animals and just trying to make everything come together quickly, you know, in such a short time frame. For me, being able to share this place with the kids before they grew wings and left home was pretty cool. Now we spend forever here or in this paradise, or a paradise much like it. I know that they'll be open to coming and spending time, and you know, they've gotten their own roots here now and made their own connections and familiar with the place. And it's a really small town here. I really love that. The people are very warm and welcoming, and everything is still very Mexican here, which I like. Oh, I had many. But as parents do, you just show your kids that we can take anything on together, and you just got to go full throttle with things sometimes. So, but in the background, Daryl and I were silently kind of freaking out. I mean, we didn't have a life savings in the bank. We literally just picked up and left. No plan. We knew nobody in this place. We had never been to this place. Yeah, we had a lot of fears, a lot. And then when you've got kids with you, it's one thing if it was going to be just the two of us. So you have to be strong for them and put on a brave face and look like you've got your shit together. We just said, okay, well, we're going to Mexico. We're going to start a real estate business to start, possibly a tequila business down the line, later spurred, and we're just gonna make it work. I really did have to go back to basics with the real estate, because in Canada I'd been doing this for 20 years. I have, and still have, and I'm still licensed, but I have a very loyal client following, and it takes time to build that. So there was an immense amount of pressure on us both to make it work. I mean, what are we going to do if it doesn't? I was very regular on Facebook pages, just trying to get my name out there, chime in where possible. At the time when we first moved, it was a very hot market in Alberta, so I was still selling lots, in the process of quite a few deals, so that definitely helped while we were building this business down here. But word of mouth just happened quicker than we expected. Daryl very quickly had to step in and help with the real estate business, which is not really necessarily what he was expecting nor wanting, but he stepped in, and until he opened our tequila lounge, he was fully doing the day-to-day in Vistas de Huatulco, as well as still operating his Canadian business. So yeah, definitely. I guess the fears Well, the fear now is, well, there's no fear now. I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, there's lots of fears now. Maybe we keep doing so much. I think that's just kind of our nature, though, is we're not ones to sit still. We're always thinking of new ideas. Very much so Daryl. He's a whole other episode of this show. How did I overcome the fears? I think as a parent, you just kind of know that there was no choice. So there was no choice to be fearful. We just had to have faith that we made the right decision. And there have been a lot of ups and downs and a lot of learning lessons because we knew nobody here, so we had nobody to show us the way. But we have had so many friends and clients follow us down here because they've seen our journey and inspired by it, perhaps. Realizing that, they've got somebody to help pave the way for them. So maybe it didn't seem as fearful for them to take this leap. Because certainly we've had friends and clients that have moved down here without ever having stepped foot in this place. Oh shit. The little puffy thing came off. I don't know how to put it back on. Okay, hold on. Well, there's no more minus 45 in my days ever again. Never, ever, ever. Well, I guess I'm never going to say never to anything because we can be spontaneous and kind of roll with things, but I don't see myself ever moving back to minus 45 degree weather and shoveling snow ever. But realistically, I wasn't the one shoveling the snow, but it's an expression. How has my daily routine changed? I often don't know which day of the week it is. That's very different. I guess a good way to depict that is to talk about maybe one of the first times I went out showing properties here. I'm so used to, like in Calgary, a very hot market, you're organizing your appointments in a very specified time frame, and then you're calculating. I'm making it sound like a very crazy mathematical equation, which it's not, but you're calculating how long it's going to take to drive from one house to the next house, one neighborhood to the next neighborhood. You're often looking at 12 to 15 properties in a day, figuring out traffic time, and often you're messing around with the lock boxes because they're frozen in the cold weather. So it's a little bit more stressed, I guess, to stay on your schedule. Here, in this particular state, there is no lock boxes on properties, so the selling realtor needs to meet the realtor that's representing the buyer, and you're on their schedule too. I remember my first time out, I was rushing to get to the next property on time, and the other realtor wasn't there yet. They were running maybe half an hour late. Initially, I was just super stressed. I was like, oh man, like this is going to be like a horrible domino effect on the rest of my appointments. Like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then I just looked at my client and I realized these people are on vacation. They're pretty chill about just about everything. I just kind of said, well, hey, do you want to stop and have like a margarita, go for coffee? The other agent's running a little late. I just messaged the other agent, just said, hey man, we're running a little late. It's all good. Sorry, no worries. And then that made me stop and realize just how much of a shift my life has made. It did take a little while to adjust because I was so used to being, you got to hurry up, you got to get your offer in right away when the property hits the market or you're not going to get the property. And here, the laid back way of everything, it was driving me crazy a little bit at first because I'm used to, hey, I got an offer and it's being dealt with within the next hour kind of thing. It's a hustle, bustle, fast market. And then working that market also at the same time, because I do still have my license there, at the same time as here, definitely adjusting to the slower pace of things and the lack of urgency for anything. I have found a way to slowly kind of blend the two worlds. I still try and do things efficiently, but I do stop and smell the roses a little more and realize that there is not really any mad urgency and that is the life that I wanted to leave behind. So why am I in such a hurry? Even like in quote traffic in Huatulco is being stuck behind the party bus. So when I'm stuck in traffic. Initially, I'm like, oh, I got to be somewhere. But like, really, everything is like 5 minutes apart here. Like, where do I have to be that is so urgent when I'm picking up clients who want to go look at beautiful ocean properties where they can enjoy and spend their time, enjoy their investment, have it make them money, spend their retirement, spend the rest of their days. There's really no hurry. I don't know what the question was, but that's the answer. For the kids, the biggest adjustment would be the slower pace of life. Daryl and I wanted this for ourselves, and we wanted this for them. Learning to speak the language, I mean, they were way faster than us on the Spanish. We're still works in progress, but for the ones especially too that had to register into local schools, they were really thrown into the wolves, I guess you could say. Thrown to the wolves? I just said thrown into the wolves. I'm not thrown into the wolves, thrown to the wolves. Definitely, I mean, for the kids, I don't think the biggest adjustment was learning Spanish because they're pretty adaptable. I mean, at the ages they were at, between 14 and 19, the biggest adjustment would have been, or was for them, I think, leaving their friends. For a teenager, it's definitely a much slower pace of life here, living in a retirement sort of place. That being said, this place has changed. There's a lot more younger families that are taking the plunge and doing kind of crazy things like us and moving their families elsewhere. So there's a few of us down here. I guess that would be the biggest adjustment is just kind of doing this at the ages that they were at. Changes in the family dynamic. I know that in a lot of the relationships with the kids, especially with our girls, between 14 and 19, those are some pretty different years. At 19, our daughter was, had her own job, had her own car, had her own friends. So hanging out with her 14-year-old sister wasn't really something that they necessarily did a lot. I mean, they got along great in Canada. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, they're pretty formative years. And moving here, they were spending obviously a lot more time together. They could relate, all the kids could relate to what each other was going through a little bit more, being in a place where they really only had each other, because we had no friends here, no family, nobody that we knew, nobody we connected with over Facebook. The dynamic change with the kids, yeah, I would say that it's brought them closer together in a lot of ways. One question, or I guess comment, that we get all the time is, you guys are so brave to have done this. Little did I know when we just got in the car, which that was a story in itself. I mean, we picked up the car the night before we left for Mexico, and it was minus 45, and the car dealership cleaned the car, and then they snapped the door mechanism. The only part that we could get was in Dallas, Texas. So we had to detour for 2 extra days with all these kids in the car to Dallas, Texas to get the car fixed. And Daryl had to Dukes of Hazzard it in and out that window for 5 days of the drive, or however long it took to get to Dallas and get the car fixed. So that was a little crazy. We don't do anything the easy way. That is something that I definitely have realized about the two of us. If something crazy is going to happen, it's going to be to us. Never the easy way. Never, ever, ever. I guess too, when we got to Huatulco, well, we couldn't get a rental in Huatulco initially. We were in Puerto Escondido, and there was donkeys in our backyard eating our garbage. That's another story. And then we got a Huatulco rental, put the kids in school right away, and then just had to figure it out. And then figured out the whole real estate company thing. I don't know how we really fast forwarded to having a tequila bar. Wasn't really in the plan, but there really wasn't anything in the plan anyways. So I guess fast forward to this space becoming available, the real estate's downstairs, the tequila lounge is upstairs, the hubby's happy selling premium tequila, smoked meats, and we've got kids that work upstairs, kids that work downstairs now that they're older, because now we're 3 years later, so between 17 and 22. They work for our companies. We're constantly up and down between the two businesses. Awesome live bands coming to play in our establishment. We've got all these interesting people we meet, like the man behind the camera right now, Marcin, who will definitely be in an episode if this turns into like a thing. I feel like my family's journey is going to be more than one episode, and it's really hard to depict everything that we've gone through. But I guess the point is anybody can make a lifestyle change. People also come up to me all the time and say, I wish we could do what you did. And then I think that's really sad when people say that, because everybody is within their power to do that. They just need to grow the cojones to do it. And that's what it is. And everyone's like, well, it's not perfectly thought out. This wasn't thought out. And I know we're all not built the same, but my point, and the point of probably this whole entire show or thing or whatever we're doing right now will be to maybe share these journeys and talk to other people that also have their own little crazy stories about what led them to living a different life. Maybe we were brave, maybe a little bit. I still think crazy, but coming from a big family and now having a big family, honestly, this is more normal to me. If this gives somebody the courage to do it too, and for me to learn about different people, then let's do this. I guess that's it.